You're listening to Podfobler Productions, a mashup of fiction, nonfiction, ideas, and commentary, created and narrated by your author-host, Victor Acquista. Today's episode, A Mound Over Hell. Welcome back and thanks for listening. Today I've got a twofer. I'm going to tell you about an excellent novel and an excellent publisher. Gifted author and playwright Gary Morgenstein has written an elaborate story of a dystopian future where the great American pastime of baseball is all but dead. I'll read you the back jacket, an excerpt, and some reader comments, including my own review, in a moment. Gary is such a multi-talented author who wrote the 4-part radio drama Mad Mel and the Meridians that previously aired on the show. He and I are both Brooklyn natives and share a love of baseball. That might seem to be a strange plot element to use as a focal point in dystopian fiction, but once you read the novel, you'll understand the brilliance. A dystopia is a community or society that is undesirable or frightening. It is translated as, quote, bad place, end quote, and is an antonym of utopia. Dystopian settings are often featured in novels and movies and frequently arise in the aftermath of some cataclysmic event or post-apocalyptic circumstances. His novel is published by BHC Press and, full disclosure, BHC will also be publishing my next 2 novels, which are a 2-book suspense series. This mid-press publisher features many award-winning authors and titles. I'll be including links to both Gary Morgenstein and BHC Press in the show notes. Now, let's play ball. Here's the back jacket. It's 2098 and the last season of baseball forever. After the ravages of World War III, the once all-American sport is now synonymous with terrorism and treason. Holograms run the bases for out-of-shape players, and attendance averages 15 spectators per game. The only ballpark left is the former Yankee Stadium. America, nearly wiped out by radical Islam, has established a society based on love. Religion, social media, and the entertainment industry have all been outlawed. All acts of patriotism are illegal, and the country is led by Grandma. Heading up the family in her home base in the Bronx, she works tirelessly to build a lasting legacy for the future. As baseball historian Puppy Nedick prepares for opening day, a chance encounter lands him face-to-face with former baseball greats. Determined not to go down without a fight, the players band together to revitalize the game for one last hurrah. But not everyone wants peace. Will baseball become the catalyst for World War IV, or will it save America? A Mound Over Hell by Gary Morgenstein. 28 years of devout service since Grandma found him semi-conscious in the hospital, along with the remains of the 230th Battalion, the rest of the men and women floating off the beaches of Sicily. She'd stared into their eyes, held their hands, fed them, sang to them, reassured them, revitalized them, promised them all this would not be in vain. He would kill his own mother to protect Grandma. I trust us, who we are, what we have to offer. Grandma's urgency softened into a smile. You don't even trust that much. He shrugged and bit into another cookie. You're not exactly a walking advert for the family sometimes. I trust you, the only one. Inside of half a cup of tea, you've blown up everything we stand for, she said with mock disapproval. At least he hoped it was mock disapproval. How did they leave it? The imam will talk to his most worthy successor. Good. Grandma thoughtfully stirred her tea. 2 of the collectors insist he'll respond. if they're still the collectors and not feeding us disinformation. When Grandma continued stirring, he persisted, which is a possibility. "The son hates his father," Grandma said firmly. "We know of the fights. If this isn't a trap, for them to suddenly reach out—" "Not so suddenly, Thomas," she said vaguely, raising an eyebrow so he wouldn't pursue. "For how long?" he asked anyway. Grandma rummaged about his mind. "Long enough. I know about that Saudi prince and the Pakistani merchant." "And a dozen more," she scolded. "This one's different. This time they can't ignore their hunger." He wasn't sure if she meant the reported food riots in the caliphates of France and Germany, or another sort of stirring. "They're still Allah's." "And we're still Americans." Grandma sighed and squeezed his gelenium leg. "I should have sued for peace in '65, instead of letting more of you die uselessly for pride. You saved us, Grandma. The Allahs only understand one thing." He made two thick fists, which Grandma slowly uncurled, one finger at a time. "Not all of them. I have to believe that. Otherwise I lied to all of you when I said there would be another future." Here's what one 5-star reviewer had to say about this novel. Morgenstein does a masterful job of taking the reader on a fantastic what-if journey. What if our current government failed? What if there were no more religions? What if we lost most of our freedoms we currently take for granted? What if there were no baseball? Another 5-star reviewer commented, "Wow, this book took me away. A deep journey into a world we all fear." And here's my own lengthy review. One could characterize baseball as a quintessential American iconic symbol that speaks to who we are as a nation and as a culture. In this respect, it is the perfect symbol to structure this novel around. After losing a war between the East and the West, a cultural battle that extends back centuries, baseball is relegated to an afterthought, an association with an America that no longer exists. Enter Puppy Nedick, baseball historian and an unlikely hero. The story is about Puppy's efforts to bring back this pastime and all that it represents, but it is about so much more. Old-fashioned family values are on full display, promulgated by Grandma and an extended governing family. Grandma is not the typical big brother of Orwellian ilk, but the social arrangement is no less totalitarian, masquerading under an apple pie veneer of love and holographic bucolic images of beauty. But conservative family values gone wild coexist with an equally crazed progressive culture of equality, robots with rights, and meaningless work as defining one's social value. Ouch! On this canvas, the author paints a somewhat grim picture. Power, control, and hidden agendas are in play. Who wins? Who loses? You'll have to read the novel to find out. Enjoy it. Laugh. Cry. Cringe. Morgenstein delivers a home run. Readers and listeners will be happy to learn that A Mound Over Hell is Book 1 of the Dark Depths series. Book 2 will be released next year. Incidentally, I'll be devoting a future show to the topic of socially conscious science fiction. I think Gary's book is an excellent example of how socially relevant themes can be woven into character and plot to raise awareness of certain societal and cultural issues. That's a wrap for today's show. It's time for me to get back to serious podfobling. Thanks for listening. Please check out the show notes and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll continue to mix it up by featuring my own work, along with short stories and book excerpts from some of my favorite author colleagues. Please tell your friends about this podcast series. If you like what you hear, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other popular download platforms. Just search for my name, Victor Acquista, or the show, Podfobler Productions. All shows are posted on my website. And check out Podfobler Productions on Facebook, where shows are archived for discussion and commentary. Drop by and share your thoughts about today's show. All these particulars are posted in the show notes. Until next time.